Hello, everyone. Wow. What a week, right? Okay, cheers to that. So now would be a good time to grab a cocktail if you're a drinker or whatever gives you comfort, because it certainly has been quite a week for the world, right? So yeah, I'm going to have a little drink here.
And I'm using my coffee mug. This is mostly for Don Taylor, our good friend down in Tombstone, who yelled at us for not having coffee mugs available. Don, they're available.
Coffee mugs on our store. Go get it.
Yes. Hopefully
Used for coffee and for cocktails.
Yes, it's odd. It's such an odd mental hurdle to drink bourbon out of a coffee mug. But I'm doing this for you, Don. Remember that. I take this for the team. So.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. That's sweet. Okay, on a serious note, we know that it's been quite a bad week for everyone. Obviously, quite a scary week for everyone. Before we get nasty grams on the fact that Chris and I are clearly not sitting 6 feet apart, we have been quarantined for the past 14 days and separate from each other. So we decided finally today we felt like it was safe to come back into the world together, not out into the world separately, of course, and do our fireside chat so that we could see all of you and reconnect with all of you. So we've missed you, but
and to be fair to us, we did have a screen between us one time. This has been tried before. And there were so many miserable failures a part of that one. We honestly, it was so bad we couldn't put it out. You know, if you've watched these, you know that we're willing to live through. I got hit in the eye with a bug several times. We were going to leave all that stuff in, but there were other failures that just made it impossible.
It was a train wreck after a train wreck.
Yeah.
So
if I don't get hit in the eye with a bug at least once, more than once, then this one is going to be a success. So
we will say that the outtakes reel of fireside chats are epic proportion, and 90% of them will literally be, a couple hours ago when we tried to do this. So it was complete train wreck. Anyway, so fail.
Yeah.
But thank you to everybody out there that is helping to take care of this virus, stop this virus. We have friends and family who are nurses, doctors on the front lines of this. Actually just texted with one of them earlier today, and she said, indeed, it is very, very scary down at the hospital, which I can imagine. So for, those people that have to go to work, the people that are keeping the trucks going, the grocery stores, oh my God, God bless you. The people at the hospitals, we're doing our part by staying home. Hopefully everyone else is as well. The more people do it, the faster people do it. Hopefully the faster we'll actually get through this. So that's the goal.
Yeah, and so that's the serious note, and I wanted to chime in as you get hit by the sun. We do have some failures in this. This is not going to be perfect. They're never going to be perfect. But I wanted to give a special shout out to one of my favorite bands, the Dropkick Murphys, who did their annual St. Patrick's Day concert in Boston. But of course, because there were no fans allowed to be present, they streamed it live, and you've seen a lot of musicians who do little impromptu performances from their living rooms or something like that. The Dropkick Murphys did a full 2-hour concert with professional lighting and cameras, a 5 or 6 camera setup with a crane and the whole works. It was amazing. They put on a great show. There were charities that you could donate to during the performance. I was one of more than 150,000 people who watched it on YouTube. I don't even know how many people watched it live on Facebook or Instagram or any of the other streaming platforms.
Pretty amazing.
So there were more than 150,000 of us watching the Dropkick Murphys perform live in an undisclosed location, I should say. They made a point to not tell anyone, of course, so that fans wouldn't just show up.
Which is really smart because, people probably would try.
Yes, it was fantastic. Yeah. So cheers to them.
Cheers, Dropkick Murphys.
Very well done.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Well played.
Some people sat in their living rooms and did a song or two. These guys did a full-blown concert on the internet for the fans.
So, thank you to people like that are busting out great content. And I guess on that note, a lot of the world is slowing down and taking a step back, which, God knows people do need breaks every now and then, but just not for this reason.
Yeah.
But we are ramping up all of our production. So we are trying, knowing that you guys are sitting at home, knowing that people are probably really wanting content, entertainment, we are working overtime right now to make sure that we get season after season after season. So there is zero break and everything stays on schedule on our end. And we're also working on getting some bonus content out there finally for Patreon.
Yeah, if you're seeing this in real time, basically between when we put it up and April 1st, we are still going to make our April 1st schedule. We're going to have an episode, a new season of Legends of the Old West and Infamous America, both starting on April 1st, just like we said we would. And everything is still on track to keep going after that. So we think we're going to do that. And yes, the long-awaited Patreon bonus content, which has been I mean, there's got
I'll
to
do
be
an outtakes reel of that too.
There's got to be a level in Dante's hell for the production of bonus content for Patreon. I don't think he wrote it, so I'm going to add it myself. But there's got to be a new level of hell somewhere in there for the process of creating bonus content for Patreon. It's not Patreon's fault; it's our fault. I have tried so many different ways and so hard to try to get bonus content that you've all asked for out there. I think we're finally getting close to that actually happening. You've heard about our Patreon page. There's very little on there right now because I'm still struggling to get all this bonus content prepared. It's in the works. I promise you there will be some cool episodes coming out in the near future. It's
not for lack of amazing cutting room floor stories. We have those. It's just producing them because our shows are very production heavy. Yeah. So primarily it's the two of us. Yeah. So I'm only
gonna stick to the timeline of in the very near future. Yes. It will happen. Yes. It's on its way.
You will be the first to know because we will announce it Fireside.
Yes. You will be among the very first people to know about it. So, yeah.
On the news of the quarantine and the virus and everything else, there is a funny story on our end that came out of this. And a lot of people ask us, we can't really go a day without saying, oh my God, someone saying, I can't believe that you guys are siblings and you work so closely together. And we're in a high stress, high pressure environment from all the deadlines that we're trying to do, a ton of research, all the recordings. Clearly there's a ton of people that have very high stress, high pressure jobs. But we have been working very closely for a very long period of time now in a fairly stressful environment. So people are always saying I could never work with my sibling in that sort of environment. And I believe what I always tell people is that it works because we do totally separate things within the company and we are polar opposites. And so somehow between what we both bring to the table, we're able to bring stuff together and bust out the content that you guys hear. So
luckily we don't do this in the same space.
Correct. We do not do this in the same space.
Us being quarantined is our just natural living environment.
Exactly. So this is really not a big deal for us.
If we worked in this proximity all the time, this would
never happen. No. There probably would be no Black Pearl Media.
Neither of us would be. It'd be smoldering ruins. It'd be all that would be.
That's dramatic. I think we do fine.
Okay, they'd be
minute.
Lightly sizzling ruins. Maybe not full smoldering. But, okay.
There'd probably be more bourbon in your future. But anyway, so.
That's hard to believe.
So the story that I want to tell you really quickly is that to take you a little bit into our personal lives, I don't have TV right now, so it's not something I don't have time to watch TV, and so I physically have a TV, but I don't have stations, and so there's a handful of people that have to keep me abreast of what's going on in the world. So when this virus started happening, I was the last person to know. I would see little snippets in 1 to 2 minute video increments on social media.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, I would see that, but I didn't really know necessarily how severe it was. I was on the phone with Chris, this was a couple weeks ago, and he said, hey, I don't know if you've actually been paying attention on social media, but I've been watching the news a little bit. This virus is coming. It's, they're calling it a worldwide pandemic. It's coming to the United States, and started filling me in a little bit. And I said, oh dear. I did not realize it was that bad. I had heard rumblings, but, and he said, you probably are going to have to hunker down for a little bit. Everybody is. They're saying that everyone should self-quarantine. You may want to race to the grocery store, get some food, stock up for a couple weeks so you don't have to keep going back. So I said, okay, well, in light of that, perhaps we should put this conversation on hold. I should go to the grocery store. You should go to the grocery store. Let's pick this back up a little bit later today. So we do that. We go to the grocery store separately, and I come back and I give him a call, and I was there for probably 2 hours. It was a complete nightmare.
I wasn't.
It was a complete nightmare. No. I race in. I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going on. There's lines everywhere. There's people everywhere. People are freaking out. I grab fruits. I grab vegetables. I grab boxed milk. I mean, I don't know, is the sky falling? People were getting boxed milk. So I got soup. I don't even like soup. I definitely binge bought mac and cheese, which is that's normal.
That's
but that's totally normal.
Fine.
If anyone saw me and saw the amount of mac and cheese I was buying, I could have been accused of binge buying, but that's actually just normal for me. So anyway, so I get all these essentials. There was no toilet paper. There were no paper towels at that point because I was, again, the last to know what was going on. So I get home. I call Chris. He's chilling. He's clearly been home for quite some time. And I said, okay, I'm home. I have food. These are the things that I got. I just started telling him everything. And I said, what did you get? What necessities did you get? And he said, well, I got the necessities too. And I said, well, okay. What were your necessities? Yeah. And he said, bourbon and toothpaste.
I did. Those 2 bottles of bourbon and 2 bottles of toothpaste.
Bourbon and toothpaste, friends. If you went to the grocery store, as you probably did over the course of these past 2 weeks, what were your staples? What were the things that you got? Because I'm here getting things for being in a tunnel for months on end, and Chris is getting bourbon and toothpaste.
And if you bought bourbons or any whiskeys, which ones did you buy? I bought Woodford and Bulleit. That's what I got. Now, we should also be upfront about this, because I did know about this before you. I had stocked up on other things.
Oh, really?
This particular run, I didn't. I had just
the truth now comes out.
I had just run out of toothpaste, and you could never have too much bourbon, especially in a crisis. So I had. I mean, it wasn't like I had no food. Or like, you know what I need to survive on nothing is bourbon and toothpaste. I'm not that crazy.
That's what
I'm
I need.
Not fully insane.
But you had to get a straight up carrying case for your bourbon.
The second time. So the second part of this is that there was another trip, but I thought there was a full-blown crisis, which there could still develop. There was no chance that 2 bottles was just going to last for 6, 8, 12 weeks. I don't know how much longer this is going to go.
Safety first. I mean,
so
one cannot be without
go
bourbon.
Back,
that is true.
And the woman behind the counter had to give me one of those slotted carrying cases, like a canvas bag that has the individual slots, typically built for wine bottles, but these were not.
Did they even
wine.
Fit? I mean, the
Barely.
bourbon bottles,
there was Bulleit? It was difficult.
Yeah.
Bulleit fit just fine, but in that run...
Woodford Reserve, what else did you get? Bulleit and what?
The second run, Bulleit and Woodford were the first run with the toothpaste.
Yeah, Woodford's not fitting.
No, it wasn't, but I didn't have to worry about it. The second run was more Elijah Craig.
Oh,
it was Elijah Craig, more Bulleit, Jameson, I believe Old Forester. I think I grabbed a bottle of that real quick. There was one of the lesser expensive brands bottles that was around that I just snagged because it was there and easy.
This is fascinating because I didn't get carrying cases for my box.
Yeah, no, the Elijah Craig didn't fit very well. It's a very skinny but square bottle.
So. Oh my God. Okay, so what did you guys get?
What did you guys get?
So what was your one thing that you cannot live without?
Let's get off my bourbon consumption for a second.
Mine's mac and cheese, Chris's is bourbon. Yeah. What's the one thing you could not live without when you ran to the grocery store? Have to know.
And don't say toilet paper. Come up with something more creative than that.
No, yeah, exactly. No.
So the last thing we want to know, though, is because of that, obviously a lot of podcasters want to know this. Mm-hmm. How have your listening habits changed during the coronavirus outbreak here? If you are stuck at home, if you have to be at home, you're not commuting to work anymore, you're probably not going to your gym anymore, some of those common places where you used to listen to the show.
Right.
How are you listening to it now? Are you manufacturing a commute of some kind? Do you go for a walk around the neighborhood in the morning or something like that? I don't know. So how do you guys listen to your shows now?
And if you're looking for something to do, a tip that I came up with that I've actually done, and I didn't necessarily do it now, but I've done it before, was our series on Tombstone. We pride ourselves in telling the true story to the best of our ability for our series. And the movie version, some of them are actually rather true, and some of them are, there's a lot of falsehoods made up for the cinematic side of it. Obviously, they're movies, and they're 2-hour versions of the story, which is much longer than 2 hours. So anyway, my suggestion: listen to our series of Tombstone. Did I say Tombstone? Or did I just think that in my head?
I wasn't listening, so I'm not really sure. You probably should tell them that you're talking about Tombstone.
Okay, so on Legends of the Old West,
I'm staring at that bird.
We did the series on Tombstone, so obviously a very well-known story. So my suggestion is listen to that series, which is I think 6 or 7 episodes. Then go watch the movie Tombstone or Wyatt or both. Then go listen to the podcast based on a true story, the interview that Dan did with Chris that dissects the fact versus fiction of the whole Tombstone story. So you can listen to the true story. Then you can listen to definitely the cinematic story and kind of judge for yourself what's fact versus fiction, then actually listen to what is fact versus fiction and see how well you did.
You put the true story in air quotes there as if it's not the true story.
Well, it is the true story.
But why did you put the quotes around it?
I just thought it'd be fun.
Okay.
I just needed something to do with my hands.
Okay. It is. We try to tell the true story as accurately as possible. So I hope it's true. I can't do it with. Okay,
scratch the air quotes. I mean, formality, right?
We're gonna cut that part out.
I mean, if it stays in, then scratch the air quotes. Okay. So, but then the other story that we could do is, do you want to take this one?
Well, it's very similar. So you could listen to the Billy the Kid series on Infamous America, then watch the movie Young Guns, which is one of my oldest and personal favorites, and then again listen to the interview on Based on a True Story podcast. Between myself and Dan, who hosts the show, which is great. He's fun. This is It's been a great time to actually go through all the different points of each story and compare them to the movies. It was a lot of fun. He picks out some really interesting moments to talk about. So you can listen to the podcast series, then watch the movie, then listen to the interview with Dan on Based on a True Story. And that's hours of time.
I was just going to say, that's going to get you through 2-3 days of, I mean, depending on how much you sit on the couch and binge right now. Yeah. But yeah, that'll get you through a lot of time.
No question.
So, is that all we have?
That's probably it. We should wrap it up.
That's all we have for today.
We've rambled on too long.
Yes.
We got distracted with air quotes and toothpaste and bourbon. So,
all right, everyone. Until next time, stay safe. Enjoy your quarantine. Yeah. We'll all be back together soon enough when this passes.
Cheers.
Cheers.